recording. Today is another of my open Q&As live stream. So for those of you who are joining, you can ask me anything about immigration to the Czech Republic, different visa types, starting a business here. Let me move this as well. Starting a business here, getting health insurance, finding accommodation, bringing your spouses, your kids, getting the permanent residency, getting Czech citizenship. Anything. You can ask me personal questions as well. That usually doesn't happen, which I am not sure if I'm happy or unhappy about. But yeah, up to you as well. So for the next 20 minutes, I'll be here. Usually the first 2-3 minutes are a bit slow because people are joining and not asking much questions. But once there are more people, then people start asking more questions and the live stream gets interesting. And I often end up not being here for the 20 minutes I announced, but for like 45 minutes or something. So let's see about today. Moxin Sony, Moxin Sony. Sorry for mispronouncing. Hello from Casablanca, Morocco. Hello from Prague, Czech Republic, to Casablanca. Thank you for joining the live stream. If you have any questions, feel free to ask or stay silent forever, or how they say it at weddings. Is 8,000 euro enough in the bank account if I'm applying for a long-term visa from Morocco? Yes, generally for any visa type you can apply for, that's enough. The highest amount of money you need to have in the bank is for the business visa, which requires equivalent to 160,000 crowns, which is roughly about $7,000. So probably a bit less in euros, but I don't know the exchange rate. But 8,000 euros is more than enough for any visa type, basically. Baris Sarin, hello Jan, I have a question. I have applied from Istanbul on 24th of June. That's my name day in the Czech Republic. Everyone got their visa, even the people from 1st of July. And I'm still waiting. Is that normal? Yes, that's completely normal. Because you all think that there is some system, that there is some like clear system behind all the procedures at the Ministry of the Interior. There's not. Or there is some like basic system that someone will make a decision. That's a system in a way, but when, that is not really clear, and it depends on many things. First thing is that every case can be decided by different people, because it's not the embassy who makes the decision. You applied at the embassy, but the embassy does not make the decision. They only take the documents and send them to the Czech Republic, to the Ministry of the Interior, where the decision is made. But how it works there is that they take all the files they received every day or whenever, because we have plenty of embassies in the world, and then they send it to the department, because different departments are responsible for business visas, different departments are responsible for student visas, different departments are responsible for permanent residence application. So they need to send it first to the correct department, and then within the department the supervisor must give this file, your file, to some decision maker. So even if two people apply at the same time at the same embassy for the same type of visa, they can be decided by two different decision makers. And then decision makers work in a different way, in a different pace, different strategy, let's say. So it can be very different. Even if someone is approved who applied after you, that's completely normal. Also, of course, can potentially mean something, that some of your documents were not perfect, or they're looking for some problems. But it can also mean that the person who's responsible for your case is not at work this week. They went on holiday, so no one's working on your case actually. So there might be many different explanations, but definitely nothing to worry about at this point. If there was a delay of 2 months, if everyone was approved and you haven't been for 2 months longer than any other person okay, that might be a bit concerning. Maybe they have lost your file or there is some significant problem. But if it's just a week, 2 or something, not a problem at all. Shalu Singh, is it allowed to do abortion as a foreigner in Czech Republic? Honestly, I have no idea. That's a good question. No, I would guess. Anything I would say would be a guess. I don't know, honestly. Sorry, but I don't know. But might be best to ask either if you have a GP, so ask there, or ideally your insurance company. So if you are in the public healthcare system because you are employed here, that might be a bit more difficult to ask, but you can go to their branch and ask. If you have the private health insurance, then call the line which you have on your health insurance card and ask there, and they should be able to answer that or find out because they work in that field. So it should be easier for them than for me. Nick Torres, do you help with Živno visa? I have a remote job that pays 2,000 euros. Nick, we do help with business visa, but already what you said, that you had a remote job, does not really qualify you for the business visa, for the Živno visa, because Czech Republic generally is pretty close country visa-wise, so we don't give visas easily. And you always need to have some official purpose of stay. You need to have a valid reason to be here. And having a remote job is not really a reason to be in the Czech Republic. If you can work from any place in the world, why you should do it in the Czech Republic? That's Czech Republic's approach. So if you only have a remote job, then it doesn't really matter for your Czech visa, and it will not help you get a Czech visa. Definitely not the business one. You could potentially try to apply for the digital nomad visa, and I do this because it's like a very limited version of that. It only applies to 7 or 8 nationalities, and it only applies to IT, whatever that means. There is no like specification of that, but you need to work in IT. So if you're a software developer and you're from the US and you have one big client, or you're employed so you can work remotely, probably you have a chance of getting the digital nomad visa. If you're from India, no chance at all, because they cannot apply for that. If you're from the US but your job is not in IT specifically, then you cannot get the digital nomad visa either. And getting a business visa with a business plan which is in no way or form related to the Czech Republic will not work. Hanmik here. Hey Jan, I'm from Tunisia and I'm interested in applying for a long-term Živno visa. I'm self-employed, working remotely with a Swiss client and earning a good stable amount. My question is, can I get the visa if I'm only working with this Swiss client and nothing in Czech? Okay, so that was answered. Like the question before, the question I answered before, that's the same answer here. If you're from Tunisia, it will be even more complicated for you to get any type of visa, and the business visa generally is the most complicated one. So if you only have a remote job from a Swiss company, there is no way basically I would see for you to get the business visa at this point. You would generally, if you want to get the business visa, you need to relate your business to the Czech Republic. You need to have a reason to be in the Czech Republic. So if you have clients from elsewhere, not the Czech Republic, then there is no reason for the Czech Republic to give you a visa to live in the Czech Republic if you have nothing to do here, basically. So if you wanted to apply for the business visa, you would need to have some local clients who at the same time need you here. Because even if you have Czech clients, but you work for them online, like you just consult online or whatever, there is no reason for you to be here. So you always need to have like local clients, local like business plan tied to the Czech market, and you need to have a reason to be here physically. Baris Saren, I'm just afraid it will take longer than 60 days before I need to be at school in September. That's also very likely. The ministry does not really care about the deadlines. Like if sometimes what I've seen, we've been doing this for 12 years and we've worked with around 18,000 clients right now, or at this point. So I've seen a lot. And the ministry, the common factor is that the ministry does not really care, about the deadline. So if they have 60 days, it can take them 3 years. If they have 90 days, it can take them 5 months. They don't really care. They do their best. I get to give them this. And the student visa is generally the fastest approved one. But yeah, again, it depends. Like the person making your decision can go for holiday for 2 weeks, or they can get sick, or they can misplace your file. That happens as well. Or your they want to check something. They're waiting for answer from your school maybe, but all the people from schools are on holiday now, so they will not answer. So they will delay all the whole process. So it can happen. Like, yeah, for student visas, the time limit is 60 days. They try to stick to it, but it's not like a guarantee. There is no like, it doesn't work like this in the Czech Republic, that there is a 60 days by the law which they have to make the decision, and they will make the decision within the 60 days. They will try, but if it's like 67, if it's 90 days, if it's 100 days, if it's 80 days, doesn't bother them really. Bank Czech Chodam Bank. I mispronounced every single letter in that, so sorry. Where are you from? I'm from the Czech Republic, now in Prague. Why I look there is because we have a view to the Prague castle from our windows, from our office, so I'm in Prague. Safe Haven. Hi Jan, can I pay for your services to fill a visa form application? I'm not in the Czech Republic and I don't want to make a mistake in filling it. Technically, yes, you can. We offer a consultation service where or documents check service. Both is possible and similar. Basically, we have 1 hour where we go through all the questions you have. We might help you fill in the form. We might help you check all the documents. So we can do that. We generally prefer working with clients from the beginning. Like you decide you want to come here for studies, you already have the school, and that's the correct time to contact us, because we can tell you already like, hey, if you're from this country, the chances of you getting the visa is 20%. So if you want to do that, we'll be happy to help you, but you need to count with that. Or if you're starting already in August, that's very likely you will not get the visa approved in time. So you should have some backup option for that. And then we make sure that you're getting all the documents, you know what you need to get, how to do it, because you, for example, need the criminal check from the country of origin. Depending on the country, sometimes it doesn't need any verification. Sometimes you need apostille, sometimes you need super legalization, then official translation into Czech. So there are many steps which we prefer having under control. But if you are already past the point and you think you have all the documents ready, you just want to fill in the form or maybe check the documents, we can do it, of course, as well. So just get in touch, fill in any form on our website, movetoprague.com, and we'll be in touch and we'll be happy to help. Jeff Starboy, can I invite my grandma to Czech Republic as a student? Depends on what you mean invite. If you mean invite like move them here so they can live here, that would be pretty difficult. If you mean invite that they can come for a week, 2, 3, up to 3 months and just like stay with you for a bit, travel a bit, that's definitely possible. Maxine Sony, I've been living in Czech Republic for almost 2 years. I had like 1 year visa and another 6 months visa. This will help me if I'm applying for another visa? Let me see what you wrote before. So I have some. Well, yeah. If you are not in the Czech Republic now and you are applying for a new visa again, haven't previously approved applications and like realized, actually, I mean, they call it realized. I don't know how to call it in English. Basically that you really used the visa, not you only had it approved, but you actually came to the Czech Republic, used it. Because some people get the visa approved, but they don't come to the Czech Republic, which is not that good. But if you actually got the visa approved and you actually came here, then, and you didn't make any trouble here, then it's okay. They can, of course, have questions about your previous stay. It's like, okay, you had previously an employment type of visa. Why do you want to study here now? Or why didn't you switch to studies when you still had a valid visa or residence permit? Because you can do that. So they might have questions like this. But generally, if you were already approved, if you have a good track record of your applications, that could help. Muhammad Ali Husnain Nawab. My appointment is near, but I'm missing original documents, but I have the copies. Will the embassy give me time to submit the original documents? Depends on what you're applying for. If you're applying for a visa, then no, they will not accept copies. That's what the law says. If you're applying for a long-term visa, then your application must be complete, perfect, all originals or notarized copies. If you're applying for a residence permit, then they might accept it, because for a residence permit, the rules are different and the embassy has to accept the application as is. And if you're missing something, they should issue a letter saying that this and this and this and this is missing and you have this amount of days to deliver it. Sometimes, depending on the embassy, they would tell you, okay, we will not accept the application, even if it's for the residence permit. In that case, you need to be a bit like, you need to be firm and say like, yeah, but you have to accept this application because it's a long-term residence permit, and maybe argue with them a bit and they will do it. Question is how much time they give you then. They might give you like a week to deliver the missing documents, which you might miss anyway. So they would deny the application afterwards anyway. But if you're applying for a visa, you cannot submit copies at all. You need to have, you cannot have anything missing. If you're applying for a residence permit, you can potentially have some documents missing and deliver them within the given deadlines. Napoleon Eli Banzuela. Hello, what are my obligations as a non-EU citizen permanent resident? As unemployed, I do not want help from the labor office for benefits because it will affect citizenship application in the future. Good, you're thinking in advance. Also, I heard that you do not need to pay the social security insurance, but for the health insurance, you need to pay personally every month. Well, kind of depends. You should definitely pay the health insurance the whole time because you need to be insured the whole time. So depending on what health insurance company you have, you might go to their branch and like discuss this with them. Potentially what you can do is not to, if you get unemployed, you have two options, like from this perspective I will be talking about. There are other options as well, that you don't do anything, blah, blah, blah. But these two options related to labor office. You can either go to the labor office and just tell them, hey, I'm unemployed. I don't want any support, but I want to get registered here for you to find me, help me find a job. And they also, if you do this, they will also cover the healthcare and maybe social security payment, so you don't have to pay anything. The government will be paying it for you, but you will not be getting any like support. The other option would be getting an actual support from the government that you are unemployed. So if you get registered with the labor office and you meet the conditions, because the conditions are, I believe you need to be in the last 2 years, you must be employed for at least 1 full year or something like that. So in that case, they can also give you some money as a support in unemployment. But then, yes, that might influence your citizenship application. Kind of depends on how you deal with that. You know, if it's like, if you get the support for 2 months and then you find a job and then like for the next 5 years you don't do anything, like you don't get any support, then that's okay, even for the citizenship, because that's reasonable. You should not be using the support unreasonably. So if you were at the labor office for 6 months, not even looking for a job, just receiving the monthly pay from the government, okay, that would definitely influence your citizenship application. If you get a reasonable amount of support because you lost your job, whatever, you need time to figure out things, and then after 2 months you find another job and you start working again, it should be okay even from the citizenship perspective. But I understand your point. So yeah, everything I said before. Marcus Antoine, for someone who got a work permit for 2 years, which visa type will be suitable to apply for? Guys, please watch my videos, my previous videos about this topic. Don't get a work permit, which would probably mean an employment contract for 2 years, before you verify like if you can even apply for any type of visa. Okay, because in some countries, let's say India, it's like 30-40 different countries. So it's not only India, it's actually many countries. But especially in India, basically, even if you get a employment contract for 7 million years, you will never get an appointment at the embassy because there are 0 appointments quota. So you cannot apply for anything, whatever kind of contract you have. So if you paid for that contract before verifying that you can actually qualify for some type of residence permit and you can get an appointment, you just wasted money and most likely you've been scammed. So yeah, generally, if you get a job offer in the Czech Republic, you can apply either for an employee card or for a blue card. I made a video about the difference some time ago. So the blue card is for highly qualified positions. Your salary must be at least 1.5 of the Czech national average. So let's say 66,000 crowns this year. For the employee card, there are no limitations. So it's fine. But yeah, so the either employee card or blue card, but you need to make sure that you can even submit the application, which in many countries is not really possible. Yes, I'm in an employment contract. I'm currently in Turkey. Depends on where you're from and how long have you been living in Turkey. If you're Turkish, I would need to double check what is the quota for Turkey. There is certainly a quota in Turkey, so the amount of people who can apply for an employee card is limited. Not for the blue card. Generally, if your salary is high enough and your education is high enough to qualify for the blue card, there are no quotas. So wherever you're from, even from India, you can always get an appointment and get here. But for an employee card, for most of the available jobs, that would be very difficult. I think in Turkey as well, but it also depends on your nationality because you can only apply in Turkey if you're Turkish or if you've been living in Turkey for more than 2 years under some residence permit or visa residence permit. So it's a bit tricky situation. Yazan Amri, is it possible to raise a case in the court if my wife family reunification visa get refused for no reason, just that they don't feel that we are married? You can try, but you need to be ready for a long fight. Yeah, we don't do that, so we are not able to help you with that. But if you need a contact for a lawyer who might, I'll be happy to share it. On the other hand, it will take months or years, and it might be pretty costly and without any clear outcome. But of course, you can try. I hope and I believe we are a justice state or whatever it's called, law state. So yes, you have the right to do that. How high are the chances? That's a different topic. Engineer Liban, is it possible to get the study visa without interview because I submitted my application on 20th June and yet there is no interview scheduled? Potentially, yes. I've seen that happen, that some people don't pass interviews at all and they get approved. Some don't pass interviews and get denied, but sometimes they call you for the interview even after a couple months. So if it's been June, July, August, so it's 1.5 months, depending on where you applied, it might take 3 to 4 weeks for the documents to even reach the Czech Republic and someone start working on them. So if you applied 1.5 months ago, it's possible that someone got your case just 2 weeks ago. So it's not like they've been working on your case the whole time, but they just started working on your case like recently. So sometimes it takes months before you get invited for an interview. But I've seen people being approved without an interview, so anything can happen. Siddhant Dongare, I had appointment on July 30th in India. I got appointment via student regime when I can expect my visa could get approved. My college, Czech University Prague, is going to start from September 16. Well, that's kind of late applying on July 30th if you have to start on September 15 because the ministry officially has 60 days to make the decision. So if they wanted to take their time, they could. If they still wanted to make the decision in time, of course, then they could take until the end of September which should still be fine. You can join later as long as the school allows that. In the student regime, usually the decision is faster. But again, it takes a couple weeks before someone even starts checking your application. So probably your application is not even like in the Czech, or most likely your application is not even in the Czech Republic yet. So no one's checking anything. Most likely the application will appear in the system as active or something maybe in a week or two. And then they will start making the decision, checking your documents, all that. So it might be, yeah, hard to say. Like the student regime definitely gives you higher chances to get approved in time than if you apply outside of the regime. So I think you'll be fine as long as your application was solid. But when you exactly get approved, hard to say. Sriman Metia. Hey, how are you, brother? Please drink some water. What do you mean? Do I look like I'm thirsty? Yeah, but the truth is I haven't drank too much today, so yeah, I'll need to do that. JMalik007, that's a special agent watching. That's good. How can we get a work visa from UK for UK from India? I have no idea, honestly, because I only work in immigration to the Czech Republic. Potentially, I could maybe give some basic advice on the other countries in the EU, but since the UK is not in the EU anymore anyway, I have no idea. So the last couple, there are so many comments. Okay, so I will stop because it's been 27 minutes now. So I will stop with Napoleon. That will be the last question I answer. So, where was I? Get an employment contract and blah, blah, blah. Where was I? Sorry, guys, I will find the last answer or last question I answer. How can I know the abbreviation of Addis Ababa to check the status of my application? We had someone applied there, so I might potentially find out, but the best would be ask the embassy. Honestly, I don't know. Yeah, I'm trying to think if there is a way for you to find out, but I would probably ask the embassy. Marcus Antoine. After getting an employee contract, we can apply for a visa directly or for an employee card. I'm from Africa. Thank you. I'm trying to see how to put it. Like visa and a residence permit are two different things, and they are not interchangeable. So you don't really have a long-term employment visa. Because if you want to come here for long-term, for employment, you have to apply for an employee card or for a blue card. So visa and residence permits, there are two different things. So employment contract kind of depends. You could potentially apply for a seasonal visa, seasonal work visa, but that makes no sense at all, in my opinion. That's the biggest scam of all. So I would not really recommend that. But the maximum validity there is 9 months. If you have a longer contract, like a year or 2 years or unlimited, whatever, then you would be most likely applying for an employee card or for a blue card, which are residence permit cards. Check my channel. I've done videos about employee cards, blue cards, the difference between each other, all that. So definitely go check it. The most important thing is that first, before you get any employment contract, check with your embassy or with the Czech embassy in the country of your origin and ask them if you will be able to even apply if you get a job offer. They might tell you, hey, no, we have a 0 quota or we have 5 people quota, so 5 people a year can submit an application, or you need to be, your employer must be in a special program, so you at least know what qualifications you need to fulfill to be able to apply. That's usually the problem I see here. People often join and, hey, the live streams and say, hey, I got an employment contract or work permit or whatever, and what do I do now? Like now you kind of cry because you've lost all the money you paid for it. Because if you're from certain countries, mainly Asian and African countries, there are most likely quotas in the country of origin, and you might never be able to use the employment contract for any application. Sidhan Dongare, I had appointment on 30th July. Okay, so I answered that. Napoleon. By the way, I applied for permanent residency as a non-EU. It was weird. The MOI clerk did not know if long-term EU resident status will be given automatically or not. She asked for confirmation. Yeah, that happens. Because the people you deal with at the ministry when you're submitting your application, those are not the people who will be making the decision. The people who will be making the decision should know a bit about the law. They sometimes don't anyway, because I've seen some letter they sent and they were crazy, some of them. Depends on how long they've been there, how experienced they are, all that. But the people working at the branches, they don't really need to know much because they're not there to advise you. They're not really there to help you. They're there to accept whatever documents you give them. So they know what they need to know. They know if they can accept this application or not, but not if this or that, they are not specialists in that. Some of them, if they've been working at the ministry for a long time, then they get experience, they get the knowledge. They might have even studied that at the school. So some of them are knowledgeable and some of them can give you advice, but many of them cannot simply because they don't know. What's good, bro? Wolves, what's good, bro? Haven't seen you in a while. Yeah, everything's good here. Thank you for joining, even though I'll be finishing the live stream shortly. Frederick Ismail Oba. Hi, Jan. Is there any benefit for being a owner of one Czech company being abroad in Africa? Is it possible to use it to apply for Czech visa? I'm not exactly sure what do you mean. Being an owner of one Czech company being abroad in Africa. I don't really know what you mean by that. If you want to elaborate, please do now, and I will answer that, even though it will be past the last answer I said, but I will be happy to answer. But at this point, I don't know what you mean exactly. Napoleon, she said it will be automatically given at the end. Lol, I paid for extra 500 crown stamps, wasted. Yeah, guys, if you go to any of my videos or the live streams, recordings or everything, you want to share stories like that, please do, so more people see that and more people know what to expect at the ministry, and we can have a bit of fun as well. I could probably do a live stream or a video just about the crazy stories we've had or crazy cases, let's say. I don't want to say crazy clients, but crazy stories or crazy cases we had, and from the ministry side, from the client side, documents wise, whatever. So the situations are different because we've been doing this for 12 years, so we have quite some stories. But you got your own story, so happy for you. J Malik 007, any job is possible for a broadcast engineer in Prague? I would recommend you to go either to jobs.cz, where most companies advertise their positions, so you can check what's available, or to the website of the labor office, because they also have database of jobs available, and that can give you a pretty good idea of what companies are looking for on the market and what are the pays for that and all that. Amit, so I'll just read the last 3 comments that are here and then I'll go. I promised 20 minutes, it's 35 almost. So Amit Shrivastamahayan, hi Amit. Hello Debra, Gotenks, Isaac, Yusuf. When next will be open Q&As? I honestly don't know. I just do it from time to time, kind of randomly. It doesn't have an exact schedule. So it can be the next one or it can be 2 weeks from now. I don't know. Honestly, sorry. Begu Corporation, can you send us direct website of the labor office? Get in touch or comment under the video and I'll be happy to share it there. Or get in touch, fill in any form on the website and I'll be happy to send it. Debra, is graduation in Czech free or paid? Well, if you mean studies, then studies are paid if you don't speak Czech and for free if you speak Czech. Of course, depends on the university. If you study a private university, then you pay anyway. But if you study public universities, if you study in Czech language, then they are generally for free. If you study in English language, then generally you have to pay. As for graduation, then there is no extra fee for that, I believe, but the studies depend on the language you study in. So guys, thank you very much for joining again. And I will see you again on Monday, Thursday, until the end of the world. See you guys. Bye-bye.